John and I are first ones in, last ones to leave, pop in on a Saturday, do a little bit of work, setting that example, but we're not doing it for, oh my God, look what we did. We're doing it to put the company forward.
Welcome to StaffBuffalo's Pain Points Podcast. Hi, welcome to another episode of the Pain Points Podcast. I'm Lori Lewis, and I'm here today with Carm Morreale, owner, partner of Metrodata Services, pre-employment screening company. Carm, thanks so much for joining me today. So happy to have you on the podcast.
Yes, it's been a while, Lauren. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, we've gotten to know each other over the years through our businesses, from pre-employment screening, recruiting, HR services. They really go hand in hand a lot when we're working with our clients to help them make sure when they're hiring their employees that they do the proper screenings and kind of know what they're set up for when it comes to pre-employment screenings. And we met, I think, maybe 3-4 years ago probably at the New York State SHRM conference. Yeah.
Turning Stone, yeah.
And it was fun because there were only a couple of us vendors there from Buffalo, so I was happy to meet you and your partner, John.
You came right up to us and knew exactly who we were.
And then I think I missed the whole session because we just kept chit-chatting.
The whole time. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
and from there we've taken off, I think.
Yeah, and you've helped us with a lot of our own pre-employment screenings and a lot of our clients too, and you've been a great resource. And what I truly value in a partner like you guys is I'm able to just pick up the phone and call you and ask for any questions. And, hey, Carm, can you guys do this? Can you help with this? What do we do for this? And you're always there to answer a question. So thank you so much for that.
Of course. Yeah, no.
And I know it's not just us you do that for, you do it for your clients too.
Yeah, it's something that we really pride ourselves on. People that come to us from large background screening companies and they come to us, we are nationally accredited. People come to us from larger background screening vendors. And the first thing they're always saying is, how's your customer service?
Yeah.
And it sounds cliche because every company out there is going to say, my customer service is great. This is what we do. This is what we don't do. But my biggest thing is I always invite them to try it.
Yeah.
Myself, my partner, we are a smaller to mid-sized company, but we do make ourselves readily available at all times. I'm answering phone calls in the airport. I'm answering phone calls in my car with my kids.
Yeah.
It's always 24/7 being a business owner. It's something that we really enjoy.
Awesome. Tell us about your journey with Metrodata Services.
Yeah, Buffalo-based company, 1997 it started, so we're approaching 40 years.
Oh my gosh, congrats. That's huge.
Yeah, it's going to be something really exciting. So with that being said, it was founded by a gentleman named Tony Dina, long business Buffalo entrepreneur. I started working with him right out of college in an internship in 2009, and then I just took it from there. So we were able to grow it. He gave me a lot of autonomy in regards to making it my own and doing what we needed to do, but then also giving me guidance in that sense. My partner, John Burns, came on in 2011, and then from there we just decided to take it as our own. Worked for a couple of years by ourselves, and in 2022 we purchased the company.
Awesome.
So it was something that we really took pride in. Obviously, the gentleman was getting ready for his next chapter, and obviously John and I, with how ingrained we were in the business, decided it was best suited for us to take over.
Now, how'd that conversation go? Was it a conversation you and John had and thought, okay, let's maybe approach Tony about this? Or was Tony proactively coming to you guys saying, hey, what are your thoughts on taking this over?
So it was a mix of both. So obviously John and I felt really comfortable in what we know about the industry, the business itself. But obviously, as starting on your own, you're always like, okay, this is make or break now.
Yeah.
So after multiple conversations, after hours, before work, after work, things like that, we felt no one was else better suited to take over the company.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, we didn't really want to work for anyone else but ourselves.
That's cool.
So having that type of mantra ingrained in us, we decided to dive in feet first and navigate the waters of being a business owner.
There's a lot to navigate to all the time, which I know you and I share stories all the time about being business owners. Now, it's amazing that you and John are business partners in owning this business. Back in 2009, you graduated college. Did you ever think your journey would take you this far and be in pre-employment screening business and in the industry for as long as you have been and now owning a business?
Yeah, no, not at all. I think everyone's journey is a little different. There's always things that people wanted to be when they were younger or when they were in college. But obviously, as you start to enter into the workforce and you feel comfortable and you get good at something, it's something that you want to continue to challenge yourself with and learn about. And that's how we started it. So again, it was really never something that I was like, yes, I don't think anyone really grows up and says, I want to be a background screener. We obviously, business-minded, we decided that there isn't a lot of competition in the Buffalo area. There's a lot of businesses that might need it. Obviously, with how small and close-knit the city of Buffalo is, having a trusted local partner is obviously good for everyone's sake.
And I can imagine, too, when it comes to pre-employment screenings, the companies you work with, and like you said, being in a smaller market like Buffalo where everyone knows each other, 100%. People talk.
Yep.
It's super important that you are providing the best customer service for your clients because you want to make sure that you are the top pre-employment screening company in Western New York.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's something that we really try to keep in the forefront of our minds. The title of your podcast is called Pain Points. So there's pain points in everything you do. But I think always holding it true to yourself and saying, hey, we're doing this for the customer, we're doing this, we're learning about this, really puts our best foot forward in regards to servicing them with what they need.
Yeah, and I know that's definitely one of your kind of pillars you have continued to build this business on, is being part of the community, working with business owners, working with HR professionals to really build those relationships so they can have their trust in Metrodata and using you and your business to make sure that they're hiring the best people and there's no skeletons in the closet.
No, 100%. And again, that's the thing, is background screening has such this premeditated notion that it's so ingrained and it's so difficult to deal with and things like that, but it really isn't. And I think our team really tries to make it as simple as possible. There's rules, regulations, authorizations, disclosures, right? All of the crazy, scary stuff that companies might be like, okay, I'm not ready to implement this. We really do have policies in place that we can really streamline this, especially if you're coming from a different vendor or if you're starting from scratch. Really, there's no company that's big or small for us in this area. We have clients that use us 2 times a year. We have clients that use us 5 times a day.
Right.
So there's really no in between, and I think we treat every single client in that same facet. But again, we also work with them in their questions, and education is a huge part. So typically what we're seeing clients sold like a kind of a false bag of goods, where we're really trying to educate them in that sense to ensure that they know what they're using us for, they know what they're getting, they know what to expect, and they know our commitment to excellence in providing that product.
I love that. I know for us too, when we work with our clients, like for example, we have a client that has a lot of an international presence too, and they want background checks done. And we came right to you and asked if you could help with like international background checks as well. And you were able to provide us with all the information we needed, the paperwork, so we could help our client navigate that as well.
Yeah, 100%. International checks are obviously in a remote workforce, the world that we're living in, more and more popular. So it's something that we've done our best to educate ourselves so we can educate our clients. Is it the most glamorous stuff? Am I going to tell you that a background check's coming back in 2 days like we expect it to be done here? No. But again, transparency, honesty, and ensuring that you guys are doing the right thing from a regulation standpoint is what we want to hang our head on.
When you talk about the background check coming back in 2 days too, I will say, and I don't want to give anyone yes, the background check's definitely coming back in 2 days, but I have noticed working with you versus working with someone else in the past that's no longer around, it is a quick turnaround.
Yeah, so again, the biggest thing that people are looking for in a background screening agency is 1, accuracy, which is important. 2, it's turnaround time, right? We understand that the workforce is very competitive. There's lots of job applications going around, and I can't control everything, but I can try and control that we're using the best resources on the ground, going directly to the courts, the sources. When it comes to verifying employment, we have multiple different policies and to ensure we're getting that data accurately.
Yeah.
Having a full local workforce is obviously helpful with that, and ensuring that our employees take the same mantra as John and I do, where we're here to service the client and get the job done as quickly as possible.
When should a company do a pre-employment screening?
Great question, Lauren. I think the biggest thing is there really is no big or small position, right? We have clients who will do background checks on volunteers. We have clients who will do background checks on CEOs. However, it's really up to you to know whether you can make a decision based upon the background check or not.
Right.
Obviously, when you're doing a background check on a volunteer, they're entitled to different rights. Then you're doing a background check on a CEO who might be under a different salary threshold. And then again, there's certain reporting guidelines there. So again, we do our best at our onboarding meetings and our onboarding calls to provide the clients with as much notices and details as they need and they understand. But we don't just provide it in paperwork. We provide it in consulting and things like that. Obviously, we're not attorneys, and that's something we always say. But it is very important to us to educate our clients.
Do companies actually do, I don't want to say pre-employment screenings, but let's say background checks. Are they doing background checks only in the pre-employment time period? Or are you seeing some of your clients doing it even when someone's 5 years on the job, 10 years on the job? Are they doing kind of check-ins with their employees?
So I would say 10 years ago, even up to 5 years ago, it was basically at the time hire. What we've recently noticed, and especially with some of our healthcare clients, is there's continuous screening. So there's a lot of products coming out right now, some of them great, some of them not so great, but again, we're doing our due diligence to vet them, where you're actually enrolled in what we call a monitored program. So again, we want to make sure you have policies and procedures in place to authorize this throughout the duration of their employment. But then again, what we could do is we could actually plug their names into databases, and then they get ran every single day. And then if something comes up, we get alerted.
Yeah.
Some people really like that, but some people don't. And again, there is certain stipulations when it comes to making decision based upon that if they're already an employee. And again, we're very forthcoming with all of that, but it is something that we've noticed is monitoring and rescreening has become very prevalent in the past couple of years.
Interesting. Yeah, I honestly never really thought about that. I always like to just think about it as pre-employment screening, but I'm sure for some companies it does make sense. You have to check on your employees consistently and make sure there's nothing that's going to affect their current position.
Yeah, 100%.
And what they're dealing with.
We see it sometimes also in promotions.
Yeah.
Someone gets promoted to a different position or a different department, and then they want to do the check again. It just makes sense to keep tabs, obviously.
Yeah.
As a business owner, your employees are some of your best assets, and we want to make sure that they're in good standing to perform for your company.
And you said something earlier too. You're providing the facts. You're providing the pre-employment screening information. So background check, credit check, drug screenings. It's up to the employer to decide how they're going to use that information.
100%. Yeah. So big thing, and I've touched on it a couple of times, is our national accreditation. What it is, it's a professional association of background screeners. They have a commitment to excellence when it comes to educating clients, making sure everything is compliant, making sure your consumer's data is protected, making sure your company's data is protected. So talking about our national accreditation, commitment to excellence, it's going to make sure we have our best business practices in place, protecting consumer data, protecting your company's data. But again, ultimately, it is your decision.
Right.
I'm always there to tell clients we're here to help you understand the report, but I cannot make a decision for you. And that's something that I think, one, some clients really do appreciate that we talk through with them.
That's
but
nice,
two,
yeah.
again, they do understand that they are the ones making the decision.
Right.
And I don't want them to think that they're ever by themselves because, again, we do handle the adverse action process for them as well if they needed us to do it.
And when an employer is conducting a pre-employment screening or a background check, even if it's after the employee has been working with the company for a while, the employee has to consent.
100%.
Right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you're not just running reports without someone else, knowing that.
One of my jokes is always we get a client on and we always onboard. And my biggest thing is I always want to make sure we have a client agreement in place. And again, the client agreement is a bunch of legal jargon, which is very important. But in actuality, if you broke it down, it's basically saying you understand the rules and regulations that you're consenting to. And then you also have to disclose it to the candidate. We're not a private investigative firm. We are here to do pre-employment background checks for employers to make pre-employment decisions. Do we do tenant screening? Yes, but again, they're different agreements. The biggest thing is we are not out there doing background checks on your neighbors or things like that. It is strictly for employment purposes.
So if an owner of a business is suspect that something is going on with one of their employees, maybe they heard something in the community, this employee is under investigation for X, or they heard in the past this person got indicted for Y. That employer cannot run a background check without that employee's investigation or consent.
100%. Yeah. So consent is going to be the biggest thing. So first and foremost, it's disclosure. So as the employer, you have to disclose to the employee that you're doing a background check on them. Two is the second part is authorization and consent. They have to make sure that as much as you guys are disclosing to the candidate that you're doing a background check, the employee has to consent to the background check being done. Whether it is for a 12-month period, 24-month period, and I've even seen employers put in consent language up for the duration of your employment.
Interesting. With your software, I know you really try to make it easy for companies to run the background checks. So tell me about the process.
Yeah, so again, it's really up to the client. There's some clients who are very technical forward, and they want to go as far as us integrating with their HRIS systems. So that is something that we've done, and we've really tried to take a huge step towards that, as we do believe that's the future, right?
Yeah.
As more HR departments are consolidating and getting smaller, they're using one system, and we want to make sure that they can still access our services from that system. So integrating with HRIS systems has become huge, but again, that's only one piece. So we have our own proprietary system that allows you to go in, order background checks, view reports, keep records of your reports, view status. We have a system that goes as far as actually sending emails on behalf of the company, so it looks like it's coming from your company, but it's our system, and they can go through the whole entire consent and disclosure process electronically.
So I know that was easy for me. I'm able to log on to your system and you've already sent me the forms on our letterhead, so it looks like it's coming right from
100%.
StaffBuffalo and StaffBuffalo, which it is, like we're the ones sending it, but we're making sure that you're helping us make sure we have the proper forms so that we're being compliant when it comes to pre-employment screenings. And we're sending the right forms, and the candidate or the employee is signing off on the right forms so they know that we are conducting this pre-employment screening or this background check. And you make it very easy. There were several times though where I was like, oh shoot, my login doesn't work. I forgot my login information. And I'm like, John, Carm, can you guys help me? And I will say it's been like immediate response from you guys
100%.
to help us get on, log in, or you're like, do you want us to just do it for you? I'm like, yes, please. We're one of those companies that we only do it like every so often. But I can imagine if there's a company that's running 5 a day, they probably just
they're in
right
the system. Yep. As you joke, we'll go on a Zoom call and you'll look at their favorites when they're on it, and one Metrodata is on one of the favorites. So again, we try and make it as easy as possible. And again, we are fully compliant with MFAs and logins and passwords and things like that. But again, we understand that your departments and HR is moving fast. It's just running how competitive the job market is. We don't want to be the reason why you guys lose a candidate because the candidate got confused on filling something out or this and that. So it's our job to try and make it as easy and upfront as possible.
I think that's super important. Like I know when we work with clients, we have to do pre-employment screenings and background checks. A lot of times the start date's kind of contingent on when they get the successful clearance, and then it's okay. Then we can determine your start date, and that can be a lot of time sometimes for people. And they want to make sure they give the proper time to their current employer.
100%.
The candidate puts them in a spot to make sure, okay, I want to give my employer the proper notice, but I also want to give notice till everything's signed, sealed, and delivered, and I know I'm clear to start at this new company.
Yep.
So time can really be of the essence for that.
Yeah, and again, it's all about transparency.
Yeah.
I would much rather undersell and overdeliver than oversell and say, yeah, I can get this back to you today, and then all of a sudden the background check is complete. And by law, I can't report an incomplete background check. Because again, there's always a kind of like a secondary motion on whether something's fully completed or not. And again, a lot of times when it comes to drug screening, the drug screens are taking longer than the background check. So those clients who do both with us are oftentimes waiting for the drug screen because we're relying on labs to do that for us.
And getting an appointment at the lab.
Yeah, correct. Blessed.
You mentioned earlier about your national accreditation. Tell me what goes into getting that accreditation, because I know it's probably not an easy process.
No, it's not. So just a little bit of a background on it. So obviously, Professional Association of Background Screeners, so PBSA, they are our governing body, our trade association, whatever you want to call it. They are a wealth of information to all background screening companies. I think the last stats I saw that there was 400 background screening companies in the country.
Wow.
And then only 113 or 120 of them are nationally accredited.
Oh, wow.
We are actually the only accredited agency in New York State outside of the city.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So the biggest thing with that is we have to open up our company to a complete stranger, right?
Yeah.
They work with auditing firms this is their job. We have to open up our books, our agreements, our authorizations, our web portal. They have to make sure that our employees have background checks on them. They have to make sure that everything we say we do in our policies and procedures manuals are there. We have to make sure we provide training. It is probably about a 6-month process. 4 months of that is a desk audit. So again, it's us submitting forms, making sure that everything's there. And then what actually happens is they bring a auditor on site, and then they go through a complete walkthrough of our office. They interview employees. They don't tell us. They don't tell us what employee they're interviewing first, and they make us do like parts of our jobs to ensure that we are actually saying that we do what we actually follow. Anyone on the day of an audit can be prepared, but with the unknown feature, all of our employees have to be prepared.
That's gotta be interesting for your employees too.
Very much.
I can imagine some are probably like fine with it, and some are like get super nervous about it too.
And it's always those ones who are nervous that get picked on for the audit.
Of course, it's like they know. It's like when a dog knows you're scared, the dog is going to make it a point to try and
very much so,
get close to you.
Luckily, obviously, we've been accredited for 10 years. So every 3 years you go through desk audit. Every 5 years you go through the desk audit and in-person audit.
Oh wow!
So this past June we just finished that up, and they picked 2 random employees who we had all prepared. And again, there was one thing that they found that we could do better, but that was it compared to...
That's great.
I think it's a 27-point process.
Who handles most of the preparation for getting ready for the audit? You or John?
So that's going to be John. John is the back-end guru, we call him. I can do all the talking and customer service and operations, and I know the background screening industry in the back of my hand, but John is let me take the computer apart and put it back together type guy. And that's why, as a business owner, it's always good to have a partner in that sense.
I know. You and I always talk about that.
Yeah, you and Maggie.
And just even before we started the podcast, chatted with Maggie, and we're literally having that same conversation. Maggie and I are completely different sides of the brain. Like, she's back in operations and accounting and finance, and I'm like, thank God you do that, because I don't want to.
Yeah. No.
And that's very similar with you and John.
Yeah, you have to yin and yang, and I feel like some business partners, they're always like, be careful who you get into business with. But again, there's also people out there, you're a living example that it is possible to have a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
And It's very, and as long as there's respect there and there's transparency, I think you could really tackle anything.
I mean, transparency and communication are huge in everything.
The biggest thing.
You have to do that.
Marriages to business partners to employee engagement, transparency is key.
Yeah, I feel like that it's such a buzzword lately about transparency, but like you talk about it so much. I'm on a board for a nonprofit locally, and we're going through a new search for an executive director, and like we talk to the staff. What does the staff want? They want more transparency.
Yeah.
They want to know what's going on. I feel like that's one example, but you hear that all the time from people at organizations is they want transparency from their employers.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, that's a great point. Even same thing, like one of the boards that I sit on, we get together once a month and it's a bunch of like really high-end conversation. But again, in actuality, the board meeting breaks and you sit there and you're like, what do we really want out of this? It always comes back to transparency.
Always. Tell us about your team. I know you've grown your team a lot over the years. What do you look for when you're... Oh, of course, we're always glad to help. You're been a great partner, and we're fun. It's fun to work with you and support you as make sure you got the best people working for your team. So tell us about what you look for when hiring.
So it's one of those things where, again, it's such a niche industry where no one's really, this is what I want to do for a living, right?
So, I think people don't know it's a job.
They don't, and that's the best thing. I think it's really what we're looking for if and when the time comes is someone that is able to, we call it the Swiss Army knife. Background screening is one part, but you got to be able to go within a couple of different departments.
Right.
From our criminal records department to our verifications department to our database department to our QA department, right? We want everyone to be cross-trained a lot of things. Again, typically what we find is people that are great multitaskers, great at communication, are typically the ones that thrive. We have a full-time staff of 9 people, some of which have been with us for 10 years, some of us have been with us for 3 months. But it's just one of those things where we really try and make everyone feel welcome.
Yeah.
Really try and introduce everyone to the clients. We want to make sure the clients know who they are on a first name basis. And again, to use the buzzword again, is transparent.
Yep. It's important. That's how you create a nice culture within your team too.
Yeah, very much. And it's huge. Culture is, again, one of those buzzwords where everyone's like, does culture really matter? And I truly do think it is.
Yeah.
Being involved in sports and things like that most of my life, being around a good team is really how you thrive in certain situations.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. It's so funny. We had a conversation recently too about the word team. I feel like for our organization, we are a team.
Very much.
I would pitch this in different ways. And sometimes we talk about a staff. Staff member to me seems very transactional.
Yep.
Or like a team member sounds a little bit more holistic, collaborative. People have their strengths and maybe there's a day where someone's not as strong as usual. We all go through those times. Someone else will pick up the slack.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And again, I think that's the human element of this whole thing is to expect someone to come in every day and be 100% is just unrealistic.
Right.
And again, if that person is a staff member, maybe they're looked at that way. But again, I think I use that word team a lot, and I feel like setting an example at that. Obviously, you being a business owner, there's probably nothing you won't do for this organization. We're the same way. John and I are first ones in, last ones to leave, pop in on a Saturday, do a little bit of work, setting that example, but we're not doing it for, oh my God, look what we did. We're doing it to put the company forward.
Exactly. I think back to the pandemic. We had a furlough several of our employees because like our clients stopped hiring, especially in like end of March, early April. We were like, oh, what do we do? For then we brought them all back, but like in the meantime, it was me and Maggie doing whatever we could to continue moving the business forward.
Yeah, you have to.
You have to.
And that's what we started talking about was when the owner was looking to sell, there's no one better to do it than people who are there. And that's how John and I have taken our sort of mentality with this whole business owner stuff is there's nothing that we won't do for one another or for the business. And again, same thing, like, hey, this has got to be done. It's 4:00. We got to get it done by 5. We get it done.
You get it done.
Yep.
When you started at Metrodata and the previous owner, did you ever think you'd be sitting in the owner's seat?
No, not at all. It's funny. You start out young. You're just trying to get anything. And again, it's almost 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a while. Different kind of world. But no, not at all. I never even thought about owning a business ever.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I find there's a lot of gratification with it. Giving others autonomy that was given to me is huge. Seeing others succeed, seeing the impact the organization can do, just all motivates you to keep going.
Yeah. What have been the biggest changes you've seen over the 15 years that you've been in the pre-employment screening industry?
Automation. Automation is huge, right? So again, as much as background checks sound like everything's computerized, there is people going to the courthouses and doing searches and looking through records. So having the courts get into this mainstream technical advancements has been huge for us. We're able to get stuff done a lot quicker. We're not using as many resources. We always joke there's not as many hands touching it. Again, we always want to make sure that our stuff is gone through QA, make sure quality is number one. But again, having some of the automated services and some of the instant services that are available to us has been huge.
That's awesome. If someone's looking for pre-employment screenings, how can they get in touch with you, Metrodata?
So our website is a wealth of information.
Yeah.
Metrocheck.com, metro-check.com. You're going to find information about industry-specific information, services, products, a full bio of the team, a little bit about some of our customers and some testimonials we have. But again, there's a contact us page there. That's typically the best way to get a hold of it. That contact us does not go to a salesperson. It goes directly to my email.
Love that.
So you're going to get in touch with me typically within that same day. And then from there, we take it at your pace. And I always say that to clients when I talk to them. There's clients who call me because they're having a bad day and they need to get rid of their vendor, but then they call me for 3 months. So I always say, hey, keep my information at the bottom of your desk, call me for a rainy day, and we'll work at your pace.
Yeah, love that. You mentioned something just now about your website. You talk about like industry-specific information. What kind of pre-employment information is there that's different from one industry to the next?
So again, industries are just so different and complex. Medical, right? You're making sure that everyone is credentialed, licensed, everything's up to date. Manufacturing, right? You might not do as much information and much background check on someone that is working a machine than someone is operating on a patient. But again, there's every industry in this area that does background checks, from collections to manufacturing to restaurants to schools to higher education to volunteer. Right. Like, we have a little bit of a clientele in every industry locally, and I think evolving with those industries is what's made us different.
Do you see that more and more people are doing background checks prior to hiring someone? Yeah,
we are seeing growth in all industries. I think, again, once people get over the fear of, oh my God, this is going to be so expensive, oh my God, this is going to be so much difficult than it needs to be, I think we're often met with, I wish I would have done this sooner.
Yeah.
There's times where clients come to us embarrassed, and they've been in business for 15 years, and they're like, I've never done a background check. But again, maybe they didn't need to. Maybe they're hiring their cousins. Or
right,
family.
there's kind of the people they're hiring.
Yeah, but again,
they almost do their own background checks, looking at social media and being like,
yeah, but
Google
again,
search.
You gotta be careful with that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing is there's really no industry that shouldn't be doing it or should not be doing it. I feel like we have something to offer to every industry.
I love it. I think definitely important. The cost is low.
Yeah,
honestly, and I think
for what it's worth.
For what it's worth every penny. Because if you hire someone and you find out after the fact that you committed a crime and that maybe they're a finance person,
sure.
Their crime was like embezzlement. Maybe that person should be handling cash.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? But you already hired this person. Now you gotta let them go. Now you gotta hire someone again. That costs a lot more money.
Yep. There's a stat, I forget what magazine it was out of, but it said the cost of a bad hire is almost 3 times the amount of money you spent on the hire.
I think that's it.
And I
pretty
think
close to
that's
accurate.
Just due to like legal fees, if there's a lawsuit, insurance, there's just so many different things that go into it.
What you've already spent on training, payment for them.
Yep.
Then the seat's empty for a little bit, so the law, from not having the person in that seat.
Yeah. So there's so many different things that you could talk yourself out of it, but I think again, there's tons of clients that come to us and their situation might change. They may have lost a client, or they might not have these rules and regulations they need to follow, but they're still looking to do a background check in every sense of the word because they understand how beneficial it was to their company.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, Lauren, this has been wonderful.
Well, I was thinking about pre-employment screenings. How much can you really talk about pre-employment screenings?
Yeah.
It's a transactional thing, you do it, but the nuances that go into it are super important. The customer service, the compliance aspect, the fact that you are nationally accredited at Metrodata Services, I think that's huge. And I think anyone in Western New York who's looking for it should definitely reach out to Metrodata.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Again, please tell our listeners how they can reach out to you.
So again, email is usually best, but again, all that information is going to our website. It's www.metro-check.com.
Yep.
We show up right on Google. We have social medias. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, all that stuff. But yeah, the website's going to be where you want to start.
And you definitely find them in the community too.
Yeah,
Carm and their team are very great at partnering with different organizations in the community to support different events, HR, legal. You'll definitely see that much. I always find that's always a great thing when you see the owner of the company tabling at events in the community.
Flying the company flag, right? They're not hiring a salesman to go out there and try and sell everything that moves. I'm trying to bring awareness to our organization and make sure that clients know we exist.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks so much again for joining us, Carm. It was a great conversation.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
And thank you for listening to the Pain Points Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the Pain Points Podcast. If you enjoyed what you heard, be sure to follow us so you never miss out on future episodes.